So here's the big picture. Let's see if I can put this together. Doing a session with a person, and it's like really, really hard stuff, and kind of asking Jesus, why is this so hard? Why is this taking so long? Jesus still in there? Yes, great. Ask him that really, really tough question. Pauses. Jesus says, I really love my children. I'm glad to heal them. But the most important purpose for all this emotional healing stuff is to remove the blockages between your heart and me. I said, whoa, say that again. Slow down. Say it again. Slower. Right. Okay. Which is the reason I could quote it there is because I made her repeat it 5 times and wrote it down word for word. The most important purpose of all this emotional stuff, I mean, I'm glad that it relieves your pain. I love my children. But the most important purpose of all this emotional healing stuff is to remove the blockages between your heart and me. I was like, oh my goodness. I've got a whole new chapter that I've written, but it's nowhere. It will eventually be on the website about intimacy as a number one priority, which has got all kinds of cool. If I had an hour, I would give that to you now. It's really, really cool stuff. I don't have an hour. Eventually, it'll be on the website. You can get it. But the start of that journey was Jesus saying the number one purpose of this, yes, they don't come into my office saying, could you help me be more intimate with Jesus? Nobody's ever come and said, I'll pay you $140 an hour as a psychiatrist to help me get a better relationship with Jesus. 0 times has that ever happened. Come to my office, I'll pay you $140 to make the pain go away. Yes. Jesus said, I'm happy to relieve your pain, but the most important purpose of this is to remove the blockages between your heart and me. Huge. So, next piece. We've seen that 15 times in the last 24 hours. Every one of the video clips, at least some part of it is, there was a guardian life fear, there was a child part, there was a memory anchored lie. Every single session, the person loses 50 pounds, they have less panic, whatever, but every single part, one of those, some part of it was, there was a piece in there that was actually hindering your relationship with Jesus, keeping you away from Jesus. The one person, wherever she is, I'm held him at arm's length. I only let him show up for certain purposes. 10 different varieties of this stuff is getting in the way of the person's ability to be close to Jesus, to let him be present, to know the truth, to actually know him for who he really is. 10 different varieties of, if you use these tools, great that people have less pain and don't jump off buildings and don't have panic attacks, but you've seen it in our demonstration sessions, all the video clips. It removes hindrances between our hearts and Jesus. Every single person we saw, a part of what happened is their ability to perceive Jesus, allow him to be present and come close to him, improved. Huge. Okay, so I didn't even write this down. I should have. Okay, Jesus, bring this all back to me. So that's a huge big deal. Okay, this is so. Another two kind of pieces. Okay, in this world you will have trials, suffering, tribulations, but it's basically Jesus says straight out, the world is really messed up. It's going to be tough. But be of good courage, for I have overcome the world. So it really is a mess. And mostly we mostly, it's kind of overwhelming, so we mostly don't really live with the awareness. There are children in India whose parents sell them to human traffickers. And they get to do a stint, they work as beggars for a while, and then they graduate to the brothel when they're 8, or to the factory where they lock them in a shed, and they work 14 hours a day for just food. It's hard to function if you actually feel that. Our Tamala, Jesus, the vulnerable, the children, the animals. Why do you allow grown-ups? It's not even like the kids are fighting with each other. You got this poor kid who's in a family where her own parents abuse her. There's nowhere she can go. She can't fight back. She's small. They're big. It's just this is so bad. And that's just the start. Go to Syria, where half the children live in villages where they're
they're bombed and being like between the government and the terrorists, the kids are just getting shot in the middle, and half their family and relatives have died in the streets. It's hard to function if you let yourself be aware of how bad the world is. Now, if you try to do that, so most people in the first world, you try to just not know it because you can't. I mean, we have that luxury. If you're in the middle of it, it's like you somehow have to try to live there. And you either get bitter, or you get hopeless, or you get addicted. I mean, if all the other choices, I mean, of how do you survive with that, it's like they're all not good. Now, one option actually works, but it's kind of a radical one, which both of our demonstrations is like, the proposal is, Jesus, make it go away, change the rules, like go back into my childhood and stop it. I'm furious that you just watch instead of stop it. I'm furious that you allow this, that you allow my parents to abuse me, to neglect me, whatever. I was a child, I couldn't defend myself. Oh, God damn it, how dare you just watch that? I demand that you change it. I demand that you go back there and fix it. I demand it. And so a piece you'll do in Emmanuel sessions that you wrestle with that in 10 different ways. I get it. I feel that too. But so Jesus is patient. And he will wait for you to do that loop if you choose to, for a year or 10 years or 30 years or 50 years or 65 years for Eileen, where you can just sit there and say, I'm still waiting for my mom to give me what she didn't give me. And it's understandable, but it doesn't work. And so part of why you see me be so bold is to say, okay, this is a hard one to take. But that plan that you're insisting on, I get it. I spent 40 years there with my mom's gone thing. When that thing, with the breakthrough I got, it was like I was in the memory, and I realized, it was funny because I had zero conscious awareness of this in my adult mind. And all of a sudden I'm in this memory, and I'm at the Wetzels, and my mom's not there. And Jesus is standing beside me, and he says, Carl, your mom's not coming back for a long time. Let me comfort you. And for 40 years, I have been stuck with Eileen. It's like, no, I want my mom. I mean, thank you very much. If you have her, great. You get the gold star. But if you don't have my mom, why are you even talking to me? And for 40 years, he had stood there saying, Carl, your mom's not coming back for a long time. Let me comfort you. I'd said, talk to the hand, which, understandable, he didn't judge me for it. He wasn't bitter, but it just didn't work. And I said, okay, you know what, Lord? I choose to accept your plan. And if you make that move, all of a sudden, Eileen, I'm sitting on his lap, I hear his heartbeat, oh my goodness, her whole life changed. So that radical move of, I want him to have made the little 2-year-old girl not have been abused. I want him to make my parents not have gotten divorced. I want, like he says, I'm sorry, sweetheart. It's like, basically, your brain is not big enough to understand why the Father and I let the world be this bad. But if you will choose to accept it, the answer that will work for now is, I am with you, and because of who I am, that is enough. Every single person who's chosen to do that, I mean, we're talking, parents died, and not like, I work with SRA survivors. Some people don't believe that's real, but it's like, so your uncle gets drunk and molests you. That's terrible. But if you live with grown-ups who like 5 nights a week take you out to their friends and they're worshiping the devil and they torture you, that's like a level of horror that we don't even want to think about. So as deep into the pool as you can get, in those memories, Jesus shows up, and I wouldn't have the guts to do it. I mean, and he'll say, okay, I want you to trust me. You cannot understand why I allow this horror to be permitted on earth. But the answer for now is, I am with you, and because of who I am, that is enough. And that person, in those memories, that person turns to me and says, Carl, he's standing right in front of me, and his presence is so powerful that somehow I'm okay. I'm like, wait a minute. You're in a memory where Satan worshippers are torturing, and you're telling me it's okay? God damn it, I'm not okay with that. I want to kick in the door in like the movies, which is why we like those movies, the part of a human part of us. I don't want Jesus to come and say, I'm with you. I want Arnold Schwarzenegger blam, 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 blam. And you're like, yes, 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 yes. You missed one over there. Get him on. Shoot him in the leg first, then the heart. Now, seriously, and Jesus says, okay, the answer for now, it's hard for you to accept, but the answer that actually works is, I am with you. Because of who I am, that's enough. And the person who's in the worst memories you have ever heard of in the world, she says, I'm satisfied. I'm thinking, okay, well, she has, I couldn't, for me to tell her, hey, you need to be satisfied with this, it's like, whoo, punch in the nose. She tells me, I'm like, which is why I have the kind of the crazy boldness and faith no matter where I go. I say, look, this is a hard plan to accept, but if you will accept it, I guarantee you it will work. And every single person who chooses to accept it, they tell me, I'm satisfied. Crazy. So another variation of, so the one they do, I'm going to go like 3 minutes over. They do the thing where in the middle, they're in hell, and Jesus shows up and says, I'll explain when you get to heaven. And I actually am looking forward to that explanation. I actually, seriously, when I have a bigger brain and I can get it, I actually want that. But he says, for now, I'm with you, and because of who I am, that's enough. That's one option. The other one they do, same kind of deal. I mean, the person's in some horrific memory that I would never have the credibility. I don't have the right to tell them whatever. They're in some horrible memory and saying, Jesus, why do you allow this? Why do you ever horrible thing? Children in Syria, sex trafficking in India, whatever horrible thing they're talking about. Why do you allow this? Okay, would Jesus be there and interact with him? Yes. And they're doing as long as you're talking to them, and they're just. And so they get that expressed. Okay, what do you want me to know, Jesus? And occasionally, one half he does, I'm enough. I'm with you, I'm enough. And the other times, which has been a handful now, all of a sudden the person starts sobbing uncontrollably for 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes. And when they can talk again, they say, I am watching Jesus die on the cross right now. All of a sudden, it's like not some imagery, not like a meditation. It's like, I'm in Palestine. Like, here's the child in the memory. This is why do you allow this horror? And they sob uncontrollably. And they say, okay, I'm the little girl. I am watching Jesus die on the cross in front of me right now. And he just told me, he said, where were you? Why did you die? He said, when you were being abused, this is what I was doing. I was dying to provide the care, the healing, the redemption, the salvation. I've come to set the captives free, to heal the brokenhearted. When that was happening to you, I was dying on the cross, choosing to. If you didn't, this happened to you, you had no choice. I chose to do this. When that was happening to you, this is where I was, providing the way for healing. Every single person who's had an interaction, they get done, they say, okay. That's a big amount of street credibility, but he has it. Like nobody else in the world has the right to tell that little girl, trust me. Every single person who's had the interaction, they're like, it's like, he has earned the authority to ask this of me. He has the right to ask this of me, and I trust him. Now, what all that comes together is we actually have the answer. It's a crazy answer. It's a mysterious answer. It's like this backwards, upside down. The world, this is foolishness to the world. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to send in Arnold to blow them away, but if you will accept it, I am with you, and because of whom that's not. If you will let me be with you in this place, I don't care where you go. The world will have tribulations. It's a messed up, horrible, broken. The enemy has been farming suffering for thousands of years. And if we let Jesus be with us in that place, we actually are victorious. It's like, I've overcome the world. And every other plan turns out badly. Now, that whole picture there, I don't know if that get recorded. I hope so, because this all came together at 5 in the morning while I was laying in bed praying, and I haven't written it or said it before anywhere. But to me, that's a pretty big deal, that we actually have the answer for how to be in this world that is so incredibly broken and painful and messed up and full of evil, and actually be victorious as opposed to addicted or disconnected or bitter or hopeless, whatever. And here's a last little crazy, fun one. So one of these horrific sessions, horrible memories,
we got to the place where the person's connected with Jesus, and she giggles. And I'm like, no, when you're 5 years old, in a memory of being tortured by Satan worshipers, you don't giggle. That's crazy. What the hell's going on here? And she says, well, Jesus is here with me. And he's explained to me, I'm actually on the winning, I am the winning team. And when you just chose to be with me here, you just joined, we're actually winning. And he was like, oh yeah, they don't even know he's in here. They're doing all this stuff. They're staying up all night. They're going to be exhausted tomorrow. Feel like crap at work. And in the middle of their whole big deal, like in a movie, the superpower hero is invisible. So he walks in and you're like, yeah, go. They don't see you. They don't see you. Go. He walks right through their whole big deal, and the capture the flag. He's just they're still out there running around, and he's just you and me, we have the flag, so let's just go on home here, and they'll figure it out in a few hours. She's like, me and Jesus, we actually just won the game, and they don't even know it. And I'm just like, that's a pretty big deal. Okay. So the last 8 pages of your handouts have more stuff that I didn't get to. Read it. All right, there we go. That's 5 minutes over, but there you go.